The truth about MGTOW from a woman's perspective. I'm going to talk about the truth of MGTOW from a woman's perspective. It's not every day that a woman gives opinions about this, but today, let's try to see what some think of it. Many people have misconceptions about what MGTOW is and what it stands for. So I'm here to clarify things and give you an honest look at it from my point of view. The woman who understood MGTOW said, "It's challenging to speculate, but it's easy to see why they would want to pursue their separate way. It's very unsettling that they would have a valid justification for doing that. You can have whatever opinion you want about the fact that guys are going their way, but the fact remains, this is a significant problem for women, for the sake of the children they will have, for our family's sake, so that you can find a partner. If you've been told your whole life that you're bad and wrong just for being a male, that you have toxic masculinity because you're familiar with women, and if you're part of a population of good men who are leaving because they're tired of women, then this is a problem." So that's the end of what she had to say. As a man, I just want to say it's a message perpetuated by society for centuries, which takes a toll on your mental and physical health. It makes you question your worth as a human being and can also lead to anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. In addition, it can affect your relationships with others and make it challenging to build meaningful connections. However, it's important to remember that you're not alone in feeling this way and that there are people who will accept and support you for who you are. They deserve to be happy and thriving, regardless of what society tells them. Again, I'm not generalizing that you should not be with a woman. You have to be open and not make them your whole life. Anyone who has ever been in a relationship knows that women are not the only ones who matter. Being in love is one of the most beautiful feelings in the world. You feel like you can conquer anything and do anything for the person you love. However, being too in love can be dangerous. When you're too in love, you don't see reason. You might make decisions outside your best interest because you think with your heart instead of your head. This can lead to problems down the road. It's essential to be able to consider when you're in a relationship, otherwise you might find yourself in a situation you cannot handle. While it's true that many of us are drawn to the opposite sex, there are many other essential aspects of life. For example, our careers and hobbies can often just be as meaningful as our relationships. In addition, it is necessary to find balance in our lives and not put all our eggs in one basket. For example, our friendships, families, and pets can provide us with love and companionship. When we invest in these other areas of our lives, we often find ourselves happier and more well-rounded. I'm not trying to scare you off or anything. I'm just making you see the hard-to-swallow possibilities of what could happen. I'll read one of my subscribers' comments. He said, "One man's trash is another man's treasure for various reasons. Because of my ex-divorced wife's petition, I decided to do it. I tried to be the most excellent spouse I could by devoting my time and money to make her happy. That needed to be better. Then I realized that being on my own is where my true happiness lies. Intending to give my full happiness to my endeavors, social life, family life, etc., truly improving oneself by being oneself, suddenly I found more free time on my hands than I had in a long time. The only upside to education is that it never stops paying dividends. I don't have anything against women, I just don't want to date anyone. Female physiology has now clicked for me. When the odds of a woman staying in a relationship with you are so low, why waste your time and energy on her? I would not put any money into such a company." And I agree, you can feel free of pressure from others when they have a different mindset. Unfortunately, there's an assumption in our society that everyone is in a relationship or looking for one. So when people discover you're single, they're often shocked. They might ask if you're okay or if something's wrong with you. And while it can be frustrating to be asked these questions constantly, it's important to remember that not everyone understands what it means to be single. For some people, being in a relationship is the only thing that matters. They can't imagine living their life without a partner, so when they meet someone who isn't interested in finding a partner, they're naturally curious. So next time someone asks you why you're single, explain that you're happy with your life the way it is. There's nothing wrong with being single. There's no need to justify your decision to remain unmarried. Just enjoy your life and let others do the same. The old proverb that a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle has been championed by many independent women over the years. And while there is some truth to the idea that we can all do without one another, the reality is that we are social creatures meant to live in the community. Whether in a romantic relationship, a family unit, or simply part of a group of friends, human beings thrive when we have others to lean on. Studies have shown that social support is essential for mental and physical health. So while it might be fun to imagine being self-sufficient, the truth is that we all need someone to help us through life. Unfortunately, most women only tell this to themselves when they don't like a particular guy or when someone doesn't meet their expectations. However, when they need saving, That's when all the strong, independent woman leaves. Men often get a bad rap. They're seen as being rigid, emotionless, and logical to a fault. But there's another side to them that often goes unnoticed. They're also sensitive, caring, and can be great listeners. In addition, they usually have a strong sense of loyalty and are protective of those they care about. While it's true some men might want to use their strength or power to take advantage of women, the vast majority of men are good, decent people who want to make a positive difference in the world. So the next time you see a man, don't be quick to judge. Chances are he's just like you, with hopes, dreams, and a desire to make a difference. People used to tell me that guys are worthless, men are evil, and women are superior in our culture. I used to hear these things all the time. It's pretty brutal to males. Most men's sole message to the world is that they are inept idiots who stumble around. Television shows are filled with stupid advertisements aimed at men, and society looks down on them. They only ever hear others talking about how foolish guys are. However, the culture is being reshaped, and the masses of women are representing women's voices. They are vocal and angry, and they insist what they want is equality. If this is the case, why aren't they taking to the streets to demand changes in the laws governing alimony, child support, and child custody? They have the ambition to rise above others. No one seriously believes that males are currently in servitude, even though the law and women have placed men in a position of subordination to them. Except for the men who go through the court, the vast majority believe they are exempt until they find themselves in a precarious situation. Just picture yourself as a man signing a contract where the court will always favor the other party if they break the terms. No reasonable individual would enter into such a contract, right? Yes, you're right. However, the chances of you not putting yourself in danger is also not low. Therefore, this is a typical response from many men mistreated in poor marriages or divorces or have had their children taken away. In the United States of America, if you're a man, you are not allowed to express your mind, whereas most women, if I may be so bold as to stereotype, tend to be more communal in their outlook. They have the propensity to be more socialist, so you probably won't notice much of a difference between them and you. Men are the ones who need to bring about change. The life of women will not change unless males can analyze, identify, and alter the various aspects of their existence in various ways. I sometimes assume that the 21st century will be the century in which males learn to adjust to the changes that women made in the previous century, and that the 20th century was the century in which women were the ones who generated all of these enormous changes. It's incredible to see how much has changed in just one century. In the early 1900s, women fought for the right to vote and own property. However, they were expected to stay home, raise children, and keep house. Fast forward to the present day, and women are now CEOs, politicians, and astronauts. They can now choose to have children or not, and their husbands' occupations no longer define them. Women have made considerable strides in the last 100 years, and although women have made great strides in the recent years in terms of equality, this can also open up a lot of issues for men. It's no secret that men have historically been the dominant gender in terms of social and economic power. However, this doesn't mean that society has always treated men fairly. Men are still disadvantaged in many ways, both in terms of expectations and opportunities. For example, men are still expected to be the primary breadwinners in most families, even though women are now just as likely to be the primary earners. Furthermore, men often face discrimination in the workplace, especially in female-dominated industries such as healthcare and education. And while women have made great strides in recent years in terms of equality, there's still a long way to go before men and women are indeed treated equally by society. There are also those men speaking up and taking action, saying things like, "You know what? I'm done with this. Either I'll never get married or I'll end up divorcing." They don't just hang out and try to live their life through other people, especially women. They're involved in a wide variety of activities related to their interests. They acquire the land you described. They purchase the motorcycles, have a fantastic time, and generally make the most of their lives since they don't have to cope with the strain of women or the pressures from society to have a woman in their lives. How would you feel if you knew that you would never be attracted to a woman or you would never experience the need to be loving or romantic? Consequently, these men have chosen to go their separate ways as a reaction to it. I think it is a reasonable response to the fact that men are finally saying, "Hey, we've given you everything you want, you know?" This is a logical answer. You insist that you are on par with everyone else in every way, but you never stop embarrassing them. It can be challenging to stand up to peer pressure, especially when it feels like everyone else is going one way and you're going the other. But it's important to remember that you're the only one who has to live with the consequences of your choices. So if you feel like going your way is the best way for you, then don't be afraid to do it. It might not be an easy choice, but it'll be worth it in the end. Plus, who knows? You might find yourself in a better place than everyone else. So go ahead and follow your heart. It could lead you to somewhere great.